What did you do as a teenager that you will never tell your parents? All those times I sarcastically answered smoke the reefer to the question of what I was going out to do. I was actually telling the truth. My parents were incredibly surprised when I called them from jail. When they finally picked me up, I said in my defense, "What? I literally told you several times." And Mom pauses and goes, "You got me there. Now shut the hell up." My parents were both out of town, but left the car with keys in kitchen. Anyway, I was 16, just learned how to drive, and this girl texted me to come pick her up and come back to my place. 10 minutes later, I'm grabbing the keys and driving across town in a car that I shouldn't be in with no license. They're never gonna find that one out. I really didn't want to do PE one day, but I didn't have a good reason, so I knew my dad wouldn't write me a note. So what I did instead was get a plain piece of paper and asked him to sign it, because we're doing a thing in English where we try to guess the personality of a person from their signature, which he totally bought. I then went to the printer and typed out your standard sick note, stuck the signed plain paper into the printer, so when the note printed, my dad's signature would appear at the bottom. I will probably tell my dad this at some point, because I'm actually kinda proud of myself for pulling it off. My time to shine, my senior year of high school, I snuck out of the house at light time to get some. My parents were a little psycho and put bells on the front and back doors, you know, in case of burglars, but they didn't put them on the laundry room door, which led to the garage. The garage had a side door in it that lead outside, so obviously that was my way out. The problem with the side door is that it's a bit hard to tell when it's locked, since you can always get out but not necessarily back in. So, me being stupid and horny, just assumed it was fine and went along my merry way. Did the deed then. When I tried to get back in, I found the door locked. Shit, I tried every other possible entrance, all locked, but I had my phone and an idea so crazy it just might work. I called my mom and in my best helpless daughter voice cried, "Mommy, I woke up in the front yard and the door is locked. I'm so scared." She came right out and got me. I mumbled something about sleepwalking. Then she made me waffles since I was so distressed. My mom still tells the story at family get-togethers. I now have a reputation as a crazy sleepwalker. That time, I came home on the eve of my 17th birthday, and you said I looked different, and I said it was because I'm older now. It was because my pupils were blown out and I was on acid. HAHAI Infant Northeast Mom and Dad. By the Washington Y. When did we get Pecord? URES that move. I used to intern at a radio station. One day, I told my parents that I was going to go early to sit in on an editorial meeting. Instead, I took a bus an hour south to interview a felon about her experiences with solitary confinement and prison debt for a piece I was working on. They think this interview took place at the station. If they found out the truth now, they would probably get a heart attack. Snuck out of the house with a friend while I was staying over with her to meet a group of boys. She hooked up with one of them in a truck while the rest of us, me and the other two guys, hung around in the desert at night, trying not to notice the truck rocking back and forth. I must have been 14 or so. Never did anything like that before or since. I went with her BC. I was afraid she'd get in trouble with the boys by herself, so I wanted to watch over her. We got caught by her parents, who told me they were going to tell my parents. I prepared to be grounded for life. Then her dad changed his mind and told me I was a good kid and he would let this one go, but we had better not sneak out of his house again. Needless to say, he went through this a lot with his daughter. I never told my parents and never will all, and I'm 28 now. I'm not proud of this anymore, but after I realized that my parents had stashed all the liquor behind the washer and dryer, I totally started taking a few shots here and there. Once my friends found out I had access to my parents' redneck liquor cabinet, we overdid it one weekend at the beach, and I panicked, because this time my Northeast W my parents would notice, but I also had to pee, and there were no public restrooms at that beach. So I went behind a sand dune and peed in a fast food cup, then poured it back into my dad's mostly empty rum bottle. Drunken teenage logic decided that I'd had enough from the day that I had just been borrowing it from good old dad. So I gave it back. I'll never know if my parents used the rum for anything, but what I can say for sure is that they attended a party every January and brought their own homemade brew, which was part rum. They think I only snuck out at night twice, but that's because I only got caught twice. Snuck out all the damn time. The night I snuck out, stole the family truck, and drove 25 miles to lose my virginity. My dad thinks it's hilarious, but Mom will Northeast for no. I looked up porn on the family computer because I knew they'd blame my brother. He was an asshole and we didn't get along, so whenever he'd piss me off, I'd look up porn. I didn't even watch it, just Google some tits, so it would show on the search history. One time he ruined my school project so I looked up some bondage and really torturous BDSM stuff. Then when my mom went through the search history, she'd find it, tell my dad, and they'd freak out on him. They never knew it was their Catholic school attending daughter being a spiteful shit. When I was 17, I would go visit my friend's sister at her college. I told my mom we were doing innocent activities like seeing movies and going to dinner. Really, I was getting wasted with my 19-year-old boyfriend, who also went to school there. I never planned to tell my mom, but she picked me and my now husband up from a wedding this summer. We were pretty drunk, and it says, "This is how drunk we used to get when I first met you. Thanks, honey." I showed my boobs to way too many guys on the internet. I showed my boobs to a bus full of Catholic boys. I was 17 and they were, I don't know, about 12. My friends dared me to flash them, just for a second. I swear the bus almost fell over from the force of 50 prepubescent boys slamming up against the windows on the side facing me. I used to steal and snort my mom's painkillers, initially to try to understand why she did it, divided by how she experienced life. After 2 weeks I noticed I was walking around like a zombie the way she had my whole life. Haven't touched the little devil since. Mid-teens, went to an unsupervised birthday party with a mixed group of friends, boys and girls. Birthday girl wants to play truth or dare. Ha ha, cute, right? It got grown up real fast. Long story short, we all watched each other have sex. Bonus, years later my brother dated the random girl I nailed. He brought her over to meet the family. We recognized each other, but said nothing, just shared a horrifying silence. When they were leaving, I heard my brother ask her if she got to meet me. She replied, "Oh yeah, I got to meet him." I cringed, and have never stopped cringing. I used to sneak out and do stupid stuff with my friends in the neighborhood. Not drugs or drinking, but stealing stop signs, egging a house once, laying on the golf course and shooting the shit. I honestly, though my folks knew about it, and that they were just of the kids, will be kids mentality. I even got a ride home with the local police once or twice. But no, my parents had no fucking clue what I was up to. I don't want to tell them, not because I worry about what they think of me, but rather that they would blame themselves for not seeing it. My dad knows this, mom doesn't. My freshman year of college, I got busted for smoking pot at school. Just smoked a joint outside and went back to my room to do some homework. 20 minutes later, campus police knocked on the door. My room reeked of weed. They took my bud, all my grinders divided by pipes divided by what have you. They sent a letter home and fined me. I told my dad to keep checking the mail to make sure mom didn't get to it. He told me just to be more careful all. My girlfriend ended up dropping by my house on her way to visit me one day and grabbed the letter out of the mailbox. My mom never found out. I'm a straight A student and it'd break her heart. Sorry, mom. When her parents came home early, I snuck out the window and jumped off the roof of my first girlfriend's house. Sometimes I still feel it in my knees. Avoided detection though. My girlfriend's mom came home early once while we were there skipping school and banging. They were super conservative and thought she was their precious, innocent honor student. Our first thought after getting dressed as quickly as possible was to hide me in the closet in her room. Worked for about 2 minutes because I had been over there many times for dinner and studying, so she recognized my shoes by the front door. We admitted it and tried to explain it as us leaving school a little early to work on a project and were just scared she'd be upset we were there alone. That worked for about 10 seconds as she proceeded to ask why my girlfriend's hair was all messed up and why both of our zippers were down. And our very uncomfortable conversation happened after that, with me getting the constant stink eye while my girlfriend was lectured on morality and sex. Write your stories in the comments, subscribe and watch our others videos.